You record?
Yes, I'm recording. Hi, guys. Hope you're having a great day.
Hey guys, Fred and Sheila McCoy, Hatfield McCoy Museum and Adventures, FredMcCoy.com. Got an interesting topic for you.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I've been watching news and they're doing a story on a bunch of false DUI arrests. Several of them in Tennessee, but they're saying that it's all over now that people are starting to report it.
Mm-hmm.
They're finding them everywhere.
Wow.
And DUI arrest, that may be something I may know a little bit about. So we thought we'd do a video on it that we made.
Sure. Let people know.
It's the big news right now, and it's false DUI arrest.
Yeah.
DUI arrest, field sobriety test, PBTs, portable breath test.
Okay.
Different laws for different states. And we're going to talk about that. Sheila, go ahead and play. Sheila's got some short videos here to play, and then we'll comment on them in between.
Drivers charged with DUI when they are completely sober.
Fox 17 was first to tell you about this kind of justice gone wrong last February.
There we go. I'll get it right in a minute, guys.
Are fighting back.
Next one.
But the pleas from middle school teacher Jeff Adams didn't work after two Goodlettsville police officers pulled him over. Neither did telling investigators about his double hip replacement that makes walking a straight line shaky.
Ooh.
Medical problems. No, not just standing. I've had 2 hip replacements, so it is hard to stand.
Do you drink occasionally or?
I don't drink at all.
In fact, Adams initially offered to take a field sobriety test, confident he'd pass.
Little did I know, as soon as I got out of the car, I was pretty much going to jail because he seemed very excited that I said I'd do a field sobriety test.
But
2 hip replacements. Wow, I think I feel bad.
Whew.
Different states with different laws. Blood, breath, or urine. You know, Kentucky used to be a state that you could only take one test. The officer could offer, or the suspect only had to take one test, whatever the officer wanted. If he wanted blood, urine, or breath, but that was it. Once he got his test, and they met their requirement to the implied consent law. And now Kentucky has changed it so you can. I'm going to unplug that.
Okay.
Because I'm getting an echo there. I hope they're not getting it.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Kentucky's changed it years ago that where the officer can ask for all 3, breath, blood, and urine if he wants. You know, back in the old days, if a person was a dopehead, all they had to do was throw them 4 or 5 beer bottles in their floorboard of their car or truck. Cop pulls them over if they're reckless or impaired. He sees those beer bottles. Naturally, he's going to ask for a breath test. We were giving breath tests and coming back 000.
wow.
And, of course, that's when you can only ask for one. And they got smart, and they had talked to each other or talked to attorneys, and they told them, put them some beer bottles in there. And it threw us off. And once we asked for that one test, it was gone. After that, Kentucky changed the law to where you can ask for any of the 3. Why are there so many fake or false DUI arrests?
Oh, I wonder why you all think there's so many things.
You're asking people.
Yeah,
They put in the comments.
Yeah.
Bragging rights, awards, rewards, competition, trophies, gifts. Let's explain that. Bragging rights from officer to officer. How many DUIs you get this month? How many did you get? Bragging rights from department to department. Sheriff's Department competing with the PD, the police department. PD competing with the Kentucky State Police. So it's got competition there, bragging rights. Awards. You get I've got one downstairs, a governor's award for the most DUIs for that year. competing against each other, trophies, a plaque, gifts. You know, every holiday, Sheila and I used to talk about it. During any holiday, there's federal grants out there, and they offer departments video camera. Who writes the most seatbelts citations.
Yeah.
And it's just something they do to compete because, you know, they're giving away a $300 or $400 video camera. But imagine that the revenue that they're bringing in from those seatbelt citations, naturally trying to save lives also. But when you offer a reward or something in place, then of course they're going to work harder. Same way with DUI citations. And you was talking a while ago about that as to how much is a seatbelt ticket. Seatbelt tickets, unless it's changed since I got out, seatbelt ticket's only $25. But you've got a court cost. Used to be $86.50. I think the court cost here in Kentucky now is $100 and some now. So, you know, the fine itself is not that bad, but that court cost, because that court cost goes to the state administrative office of the courts, it goes to the clerk's office, it goes to the PD or sheriff's department. They split it all up.
Yeah, they divide it. Okay.
So everybody's getting a piece of the pie. The biggest thing that DUI arrest is for is because the majority of the police officers actually want to make the highways safer. No gifts, competition, or awards. Good cops will do their job anyway. Go ahead, baby. Play you a video there.
Okay.
Multiple reports from multiple states about multiple departments and multiple officers have been doing this. There's multiple complaints.
So is this the newest one?
All right.
But the pleas from middle school teacher Jeff Adams didn't work after two Goodlettsville police officers pulled him over. Neither did telling investigators about his double hip replacement that makes walking a straight line shaky.
No, not just saying that, but
Do you drink
I bet you
occasionally?
just played that one, didn't I?
In fact, Adams initially offered to take a field sobriety test, confident he'd pass.
Little did I know, as soon as I got out of the car, I was pretty much going to jail because he seemed very excited that I said I'd do a field sobriety test.
But
Wow. Do you want the next
Go
one?
ahead, yeah.
would exonerate him on the spot. Murfreesboro police arresting a man. Fox 17 News uncovered in a previous report that the majority of law enforcement agencies in Middle Tennessee no longer use breathalyzers on scene, including Goodlettsville Police. Police say blood draws are more accurate and that breathalyzers don't detect drugs anyway.
Oh, so
What was it?
that's why breathalyzers don't detect drugs. So that's why they're not using the breathalyzers anymore.
But they detect alcohol,
Mhm.
alcoholic beverage. And alcohol doesn't put off a odor. It's the beverage that's mixed with it that gives you the odor when you can tell somebody's drinking.
Yeah, okay. I have a question now. I'm just a lay person. So when they do the blood test, all they're looking for is the drugs?
No.
Or are they looking
No, you can
for
do the blood test. The blood tells you
alcohol level
and
too?
drugs. It gives you all of it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Your
then.
urine will
It gives
give you
the way.
marijuana, things like that. But still, yet the blood test also, blood test does it all.
Oh, well, there you go. That's why they.
Well, but they make a
Possibly.
portable breath test. They make a PBT,
Okay.
a portable breath test that you can carry in your car with you.
Okay.
Why Tennessee doesn't do that?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're a one test state, so they can only ask for one test, and they opt
Okay.
rather than giving a breath test and letting somebody go that's impaired on drugs
Uh-huh.
and then getting 000 that
They don't want to
they've
protect you.
opted to do the blood test, and that way it covers all of it. You know, a lot of people will refuse
Mhm.
a blood test. A
Really?
lot of people they don't like needles.
Yeah.
They're afraid of being infected, and they just refuse to do it. And sometimes officers ask for a blood test thinking that this person will refuse the blood test.
Okay.
You know, there's nothing makes a police officer happier or his job more easy than for somebody just to refuse the field sobriety test, refuse the BA, blood test, anything. He just refuses. And then you've got you a conviction. This man's just
because
the same.
They refused the blood
Pled
test.
guilty. Yeah, the implied consent. When you got your driver's license, you signed a form that says you agree that if you're ever stopped for being impaired, that you agree to subject yourself to certain tests the officer wants. And so you've already agreed that you would do that. Now all of a sudden you're getting stopped and you're saying you don't want to do it, so you're breaking your agreement.
So it looks like
More
you're
like-
hiding something, basically.
Well, you could be if you're refusing to take the test. But now
Right.
let's discuss that. Can a person reject or not take? Officer says, do you want to take a field sobriety test for me?
Okay.
Well, first of all, no, I really don't want to. You know, who wants to? You know, if he says, will you take a field sobriety test? Then, you know, that's, but still, yet again, if they, do you want to? No, you don't want to take a test, but you can refuse a field sobriety test. You don't have to take a police officer's field sobriety test. But what's that going to do is you're probably going to get arrested, because now you've gave him reason to believe that. Why wouldn't you? If you're sober, if you're not on drugs, why wouldn't you take his test?
Okay. That makes sense, really, when you think about it.
You know, a lot of people's charged with DUI. Not a lot, but evidently there's 600 cases here.
Yeah.
And somebody says, well, why don't they say something about it? Why ain't they complaining? Most people are just happy when the test comes back. The blood test is negative. The breath test is negative. Everything's negative, that they're just happy to get it behind them and move on.
Get it over with, yeah.
But now, since these news is coming out with all this, I think everybody catches on. They say, that happened to me. I thought it was just a one-time thing. I didn't know this was a regular occurrence.
Ooh.
So what if you go to arrest
Mm-hmm.
or go to jail? Most just glad to dismiss. That's it. Field sobriety tests, are you required to take one? No, but the officer's probably going to use your refusal as a presumption of guilt. It's a clue that drugs or alcohol are present. After you are arrested, are you required to take a breath test or blood or urine? And you hear that echo there? I hope that's not echoing.
I heard that just then.
Yeah, I hear it to my computer, but so you're required. Again, implied consent says that you'll submit to a test. Now you have the right to refuse that test, but if you refuse it, you're going to lose your license. You're the same as saying you're guilty.
Yeah.
So unless you're extremely intoxicated or dope, well, dope, it doesn't matter. If you got dope on you in your system, especially if it's an illegal substance that's not supposed to, no medical use and no prescription, then it don't matter if it shows a trace, you're guilty.
Ouch.
Going to lose your license. Field sobriety test. You know, there's several field sobriety tests that police officers use, and I always like to use tests that was no matter who you get, somebody, you ask them, do you have anything that would prevent you from taking some field sobriety tests? Well, I've got a bad back. I've had a bad knee.
Yeah.
I got 2 hip replacements, and you'll try to cater those tests to that person. You wouldn't want a person to walk a straight line, try to keep his balance with a back surgery or a bad leg or a hip.
That makes
You know,
sense,
sometimes with a bad leg, you say, oh, I got a bad leg. Which leg is it? Well, my left. Okay. Then let's hold your left up. Let's don't stand on your left. Let's
put your weight on your right.
Put your weight on your right.
Okay.
And toe to the bumper or whatever. But I always tried to use other tests such as your ABCs and things like that. See if you've got a slurred speech. See if you're thinking clearly. You know, a lot of times when a person is drinking or impaired, You tell them, say your ABCs, and they'll start rattling them off right then. A, B, C, D, F, G, H, and here they go.
Mhm.
A lot of times, if they're impaired, what you're going to see is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and they start singing their ABCs. It's like a 60-year-old man out here, and he's back in kindergarten because he can relate,
Mhm.
and that's a clue. Even if he says his ABCs, that's a clue that.
Well, generally speaking, in kindergarten, when a child learns their ABCs, they learn it through singing. Children learn things sometimes better through singing it. And so when I would test them on, I'd say your ABCs, they would start singing. And I'd say no. And then I'd demonstrate, I need you to say A, B, C. And then they would do it so far and they couldn't. But if you let them sing it,
Sure.
they can do it all the way through.
Same way, 60-year-old man, but it's a clue to a police officer that something's not right. That's not the way a 60-year-old person says their ABCs
Mhm.
in their right mind. Now, say they say them correctly,
Okay.
and
Then
so
what?
then you might ask them to say your ABCs again.
Uh-huh.
Start at F and stop at P. A lot of times, if they're intoxicated or if they're impaired,
Yeah.
they'll still start from the beginning. A, B, C, D, they'll start out and they'll go all the way to Z, or they'll go past something and they'll say, where'd you tell me to stop at? And that's they're not following directions. That's a clue.
Okay.
Now, you don't just go on one test or two tests, but you put all these things together along with some common sense and experience, and that's how you determine whether this person's impaired. But some of your field sobriety test is the walk and turn. Take 10 steps down,
Uh-huh.
turn around 10 steps back. Walk a straight line, heel to toe. Toe to the bumper of the car. Stand on one foot, hold your toe 6 inches away from the bumper. Count to 30.
I can't do that.
Exactly.
I can't do that. And I
There's a
don't
lot
drink.
of people, when you're standing there in front of a police officer, you're standing in gravel, you're standing, traffic's going by, tractor trailer blowing you around. You're nervous.
Embarrassed.
It's you got to throw some common sense, and you got to experience.
Okay.
The one leg stand, hold one leg 6 inches from the ground. Keep your hands to your side. Stick your hands all the way out. Tilt your head all the way back. Touch your nose. ABCs. Everybody takes the ABCs for granted. Of course, what you're looking for there is the slur, speech, spit, slobber.
Okay.
Horizontal gaze with your eyes to see if they twitch, see if they jerk.
Oh, it's the one where they hold their head still and just follow
Yeah,
your
you'll
finger.
take your ink pen and you'll play tricks on your eyes because your eyes are sitting there jerking. Especially if you're on drugs,
Okay.
count backwards,
Mhm.
count to 30, and then count backwards to 4. But it's to see if they're following directions. They're finger to the nose, balloon test. Back in the 70s, everybody had it was called the balloon test.
Okay. What's
And
the
people
balloon
would,
test?
well, people would carry a balloon, the officers would, and you give it, next time you're at a party, pull you out a bunch of balloons, and after they've had 5 or 6 beers, give them a balloon, tell them blow it up, see them blow it up as fast as,
Okay.
and you'll see slobbering and spitting, and they spit the balloon out of their hands.
Yeah.
They can't get their mouth where it needs to be to blow the balloon up.
Okay.
And that was a good test back in the early
70s.
years.
Mhm.
That's what we used to do. I used to do a little bit of stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
And one of the things I would tell there is about give balloon tests. Everybody back in the day, they always, no matter what test you give them, toe to bumper or whatever, they'd say, give me the balloon test, give me the balloon test. Because in nightclubs and parties and different things, people would pass out balloons. They say, hey, let's practice the balloon test in case you get pulled over tonight and so forth. And they thought it was funny that cops were letting people blow up balloons to see if they were drunk. And they would see who could do it. So I got this guy one time and he says, give me the balloon test, give me the balloon test. And I said, you failed every test I've given you. Give me the balloon test. If I fail the balloon test, take me to jail. I happen to have a balloon in my pocket, and I took this balloon out. And I said, I'm going to give you the balloon test, but if you fail it, you're going to jail. And he said, okay. Well, I took the balloon instead of giving it to him.
You blew up.
I blew the balloon up, and I said, see that balloon? He said, yeah. I said, catch it. Joke. Boom, boom. I'll be here all week. That's a joke. Why do cops field test so many drivers?
Okay. Why did they do that?
Drivers pass them by, see
Okay.
the officer administering a field sobriety test, and it serves as a deterrent.
Okay.
If they've got a beer in the car or they're sipping on one going down the road, then around the next curve, they may throw it out because they're thinking, hey, if he's back there, there might be another officer up through here checking traffic. So attention, maybe the officer wants to be seen. Authority to do so because he can.
Mm-hmm.
A gamble or a toss-up. Maybe he's fishing. Maybe he's checking people to see if they're impaired. Just hoping he gets an impaired driver. Activity for the log sheet at the end of the shift.
Okay.
To put down what he done. But most are to get impaired drivers off the highways. Most police officers you see out there giving somebody a field sobriety test
Mm-hmm.
is doing it because they're doing their job. They want to see if this person's impaired, make sure he's safe to go on down the road. Nothing worse than being accused of something you didn't do. And we all know that.
Right.
You know, I feel sorry for these people that I've been watching today, Sheila and I.
Yeah.
Nothing worse than being accused of something that you're innocent of, and especially when you're having to wait 5 or 6 months to prove your innocence.
You know, that has to be horrible to be in that person's position
Yeah.
and not knowing that you don't do that, but it's all out for the world to see.
Oh, that's like the other guy. He's a school teacher, and he drove a Uber on the side. Right off the bat, when he got the DUI, Uber dropped him as a driver, not counting his reputation. He said he was embarrassed to death, afraid to go ahead,
I would be.
afraid the school was going to find out.
The school system.
After 5 long months, Adam's alcohol and drug tests came back negative, and a judge dismissed the case. But Adam says the emotional and financial toll are far from over.
It's sad. Do the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Experience I've ever had.
Data obtained by Fox 17 News shows judges dismissed about 12% of DUI cases in Tennessee this year. But new numbers from TBI reveal it's a bigger problem than you may think. We found more than 600 sober drivers.
Wow.
Attorney says the city violated Adams' constitutional rights. So Adams demanded a $75,000 settlement. The city ultimately paid Adams $5,000 to avoid a lawsuit. If this hadn't gone to court, it wouldn't necessarily have been an open and shut case, just because Adams' alcohol and
Wow, $5,000. I don't know.
Ooh,
I believe I
law.
would have took it to a trial.
Yeah, man.
You know, I'm a policeman all the way, but there's right and there's wrong.
That's why I tried.
And you know, talking about it being a clear-cut case, may have been I don't know what he was pulled over for, whether it was a tail light, weaving, whatever it was. But a catch-all in most states for police officers is reckless driving. In most states, reckless driving is an arrestable offense.
Probable cause.
And that's your probable cause to pull the person over.
Okay.
What was your probable cause? Reckless driving. Well, on the citation, you're going to put down reckless driving, charge number 1, and then
Okay.
charge number 2 is DUI. If he failed the field sobriety test and you're wanting to take him for a test, now the test comes back and it's 0-0 on everything.
Mhm.
0 drugs, 0 alcohol.
Then what?
Well, that case is dismissed, but you still got him charged with reckless driving. So there the officer says, well, I was going to arrest him anyway for the reckless driving charge.
So he's saying that's
The initial reason why he stopped him was because reckless.
Yes, but once he stopped him, as long as he puts that charge on there too, even if you just stop somebody for DUI, you stop the person and you merge, you just say, okay, I stopped you because you had a tail light out. Say you stopped him because he had a tail light out.
Mhm.
That's not an arrestable offense.
Right.
Now you've arrested him. you've arrested them for DUI. Well, that's the charge. Now, if that charge is thrown out, then you falsely arrested this guy because he wasn't guilty of the DUI. Something happened there. You made a bad mistake. But if you arrested them for reckless driving, and that's what you'll see a lot of times, you'll see police officers arrest people, and they'll have the PC there is reckless driving. Because then if the DUI doesn't make the mark or it's all triple zeros, then you've got your reckless driving charge. Even if the driver was innocent of the DUI. But the thing about the reckless driving charge is the camera.
The video cameras.
Yeah, you've got the dash camera. So if the officer says, well, he's riding left of the center, he's riding right of the shoulder, marker line, whatever it was, then that's going to show in that camera.
So when he turns
the camera starts recording.
Yeah, the camera comes on 2, maybe 5 minutes before that. Whenever you activate your emergency equipment, it's according to what that system's set on. But it automatically backs up. It's recording going down the road, but it's not actually recording until you hit the lights. And when you do, it backs up 2 to 5 minutes, but it will show as you're following that guy. And even now, like the camera we got in our vehicles, is they play all the time. We've got it continuous, let it overlap. Unless we have a wreck or something happens that you have to have it, then you've got
That's
it.
one good thing about our camera, though. If something should happen, it automatically locks, or you can't do nothing to it, or manipulate or anything. It's locked. So that's
appearance and attitude often dictate field sobriety test or not. True. Yes, it does. Your appearance. You pull some young kid over and you're thinking, well, this is a doper, or an old man with glassy eyes, may have been up all night coon hunting, may have been up all night working. But that's one of the clues. And you say, why is your eyes so red for? Why is this? Why is that? They got this fellow right here, this school teacher, he's going to work at 5:30 in the morning. This officer thought he was on his way in from being at a bar all night.
Yeah.
He thought he'd laid out at a bar all night. And he's on his way to school to go to work. But your appearance has a lot to do with it. And driving and odors are the number one signs. You're driving. What gets you pulled over? Well, you're driving. You've got mechanical. You've got one headlight, one tail light, no brake lights. You've got all kinds of mechanical. But usually what gets a person pulled over is their driving ability. They're weaving. They're swerving. They're not paying attention. And the other one is once you walk up there, the smell of alcoholic beverage on either his breath or in the vehicle. The funny thing is we used to teach in our carry concealed class that you pull somebody over as a police officer. These people that was carrying their guns as a cop, you see this person bend over and he's doing that. Well, he's probably putting the old beer up underneath his seat, which is going to spill and put out the awful odor when the cop gets there. But he could also be reaching for his gun.
Exactly.
He could be reaching back here to get his billfold out and show you his license when you get to the door. But he could also be reaching for his gun. We always tell people she was taught that part of that.
And don't move on the steering wheel until he approaches the window. And then you can.
He'll tell you what he wants you to do.
Exactly. And then
He'll
follow
tell you.
directions.
Yeah. And so the odor of marijuana, a lot of people have this misconception about marijuana. How often how many times have you been asked to smoke marijuana? A lot of people think, well, as long as I ain't smoked it that day, I'm safe. And well, officer, I haven't smoked all week, or it's been 6 days or 8 days. Marijuana stays in your system it's been recorded up to 29 days.
I was going to ask you, how long does it show in your system?
As long as 29 days sometimes.
Okay.
According to your body, according to different things. But marijuana can stay in your. So if you tell the officer, when was the last time, we love that. When the last time you smoked marijuana? Well, it's been a week ago. Great. It's still in your system. When they do a blood test, it's in your system. And if it's one of the states that is still illegal in, then you've got illegal drugs inside your body.
So then they get charged?
Well, of course, they're impaired. under, that's funny because these states that allow
Mhm.
medical marijuana, they allow recreational marijuana.
Right.
They're driving in that state what would be impaired in a state that,
Different.
that's
That's
everything should be
interesting.
federally there. It should either be against the law
Across
or
the board.
across the board. Way to go, babe. It's been known that marijuana remains in the system for 29 days. So when the driver says 6 days, still in the system.
So you know that he's he or she.
Field sobriety tests are also common sense testing on the officer's part. A lot of it is common sense and comes with experience and just over and over and over with DUIs. Good officer would allow for surgeries, injuries, and offer a different test. But if he wants you, he'll just keep giving you various tests. It used to be, and I've been out of it for a while, but it used to be you'd give 3 tests.
Okay.
And then they moved away from that. And you could say, well, I wanted to try another one just to make sure that I was correct. And so I don't know if there's any specified amount now or not. I see people give several tests to make sure, or to maybe do a test till that the person on video sways a little bit, gets off balance, moves a little bit. And you're watching this camera and you're thinking, oh, well, that guy's drunk. Watch some of your YouTube videos of people taking sobriety tests. And you're not going to take 3 or 4 tests and not mess up on something. It's just, I don't know if you're McCoy. Like I said, between I can't imagine trying to do that. And so 99.9% of officers just want to get the impaired drivers off the road, and that's correct. But you have about 0.1% that's still out there, and that's that competition, wanting to compete with the officer down the road or on the sheriff's department or on the city PD, and wanting to call in that he's got him a DUI, and that's great. We love getting them off the road. But we can't take innocent. You can't just take people thinking we can railroad them. And
well, this is just me again, guys. I'm just saying stuff here. So you can kind of say, if they're doing it during the competition and stuff, that the police officer is kind of under the influence to arrest more people or write more tickets to get the prize. What do y'all think?
You're right. Yeah, if you're doing it for a prize or a gift,
so you're influenced by that.
And it's funny you brought that up because when we get back here tonight, you're going to see it again. That's good, babe. And she hadn't seen some of this stuff on that back page, I don't believe. Record, document, hire a good attorney. There's a movie you can come on. Don't take the law into your own hands. Take them to court. And that's what you do. You don't fight. You don't argue. You don't act up. You tell them you're innocent. You're not doing nothing and so forth. And if you're not,
just comply and do everything he says.
Even if the DUI is thrown out later on, even if it comes back triple zeros, negative on drugs, then you're still arrested because you resisted arrest or disorderly conduct or contempt of cop. So you don't want to do that. You want to document everything. And once you're arrested for life. On any application you ever fill out for a job, for housing, anything.
Well, these 600 people that's been falsely arrested. Now,
if they fill out a job application tomorrow, and it says, and they will, it will say that, have you ever been arrested? Wow. Yes or no?
It doesn't want to know why.
They'll put a little bitty line there, about a half-inch long, and say, explain. That you ain't got enough room to explain. And if you put falsely arrested, they're probably not going to believe that, because that's just not.
Oh, my land.
So it is a big deal. I can see why this guy, you'll see him in a minute. He's very emotional over it. It really affected him.
Well, that's embarrassing for one thing.
Every job application, I have that.
Wow.
Go ahead there. You're good.
That's not cool.
If you're innocent, just go along with the arrest. This ain't the time to fight.
Fire an officer after he repeatedly charged innocent drivers with being drunk or on drugs. Why one DUI doesn't, but has showed zero signs of alcohol.
Go to the next one.
And proved they had no drugs in their systems and their charges were dismissed. But that was months after Falls police officer Cody Wood.
Next one.
Months, guys. It
They
says
fired.
months.
I certainly regret that.
They fired some of these guys.
Really deeply hurt for what they went through.
That is an apology from the police chief of Goodlettsville to innocent people arrested by his police department.
A WSMB4 investigation uncovered multiple DUI arrests dismissed from arrests, all made by one officer in Goodlettsville.
So, the latest discoveries from Chief Investigative Reporter Jeremy Finley.
Go ahead. Next.
Dozens. Wow.
This discovery by Chief Investigative Reporter Jeremy Finley, and you can be sober and still get a DUI.
That's not cool.
Performing a field sobriety test is not what Jeff Adams expected last September.
That's what
as
you
he
were
was
talking
headed
about.
to his job as a teacher in Brentwood. I figured I could pass it because I wasn't drinking. I was on my way to school. It was 5:52 a.m. Video recorded by an officer shows Adams didn't do well standing on one leg. Still, Adams couldn't believe what happened next. Listen. And Adams wasn't wrong. 4 months later, his blood test results showed no alcohol, no drugs. But the arresting officer, Noah Warner, wrote he showed several signs of impairment.
Wow.
The case against Adams was dismissed. The damage, though, was already done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Remember where you're at there.
Yeah.
If you're innocent, just go along with the arrest. Not the time to fight. Can't win. Like, what's that guy's name? Comedian.
Ron White.
Ron White. She knew what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Ron White.
Yeah.
He says that he was pulled over and there was 10 police officers gathered around him, and he didn't know how many it was going to take to arrest them,
Yeah.
but he knew how many they were going to use. And that's it, guys. If you fight, you're just going to be charged. You're just going to go to jail bloody, and you're going to be charged with more charges.
Yeah.
Go along, voice your concern, so it's on the officer's body cam and on his dash cam,
Exactly.
and speak your disapproval, and that you're innocent, and that will assist you later on in court when they get your results back and they show up zero. If this happens to you, hopefully it don't. Hopefully hopefully officers will take heed to this if this is a common occurrence.
Yeah. 6 people, that's a lot.
Don't resist. I always said myself, and we've done that video the other day on that Daniel Penny,
Mhm.
and we had 3 or 4 pages at the end, and we didn't finish. That video was so long that we didn't put everything. But at the end of that, I had a comment that as a police officer, I always said I'd rather let a guilty person go as to ever take an innocent person to jail.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I would. If he's guilty and he does something wrong, more than likely they'll do it again. You'll get them another day. But for an innocent person to go through that and a police officer to put them through that, it can't ever be. This guy here is still not done. I think there's one more video of him, and he gets real emotional. It really affected him.
Well, yeah. This is not exactly dealing with that, but a DUI. Remember the lady that hit us, that T-boned us?
Yeah.
We were coming back from Walmart, guys. It was March 26, 2016. We were coming back from Walmart, headed home. We went there to get some flowers. I always get a rose bush
In my mom's.
memory. And so we had the back seat covered with different kind of flowers and rose bushes and stuff. And then we came out through there, and all of a sudden I heard Fred go, "Whoa!" And he swerved. And when he did, by the time I turned my head to look at him, her front grill was in his door. She T-boned us good. Knocked us up the ditch line.
5 DUIs. That was her 5th DUI. She hit
A man sitting there waiting to turn out.
and she hit the 3rd car.
So, I mean, and they had to cut him out.
Yeah. That's one time that one found me. Found
Sure.
us, didn't he?
Yeah.
Or she.
It was awesome.
Always request a PBT. I wish everybody still done that. I mean, I think that's a given. Back in the old days, back in the 70s, we had a little stick and they would blow into it and it would either have a red light or a green light. If it was green, there was no alcohol present.
Really?
And if it was red, it didn't tell you the amount.
But you
but
knew
yeah.
enough to know that they
had alcohol in their breath.
So what did you do then? Just take them for the blood test then?
Yeah, it was just another field sobriety test that a person could use. If they was arresting this guy here because he thinks he's intoxicated. Now, if you pull somebody over and you got beer cans all over the place and all this and that, or strong odor of alcohol, that's a clue.
That's a good chance.
If you pull a person over and you smell a strong odor of marijuana or this and that, then that's a clue.
Right.
But if you're pulling this guy over and you're thinking, well, he's intoxicated, he's not on dope, he's intoxicated, and then you do a PBT and it shows up zeros, then that shows that, well, he's either on drugs if he's driving impaired, if he's all over the road. And this man here's got 2 hip replacements. I don't see how the fellows are walking.
Sure.
But so anyway, it's just something to a PBT is something I wish all states that is just the most valuable. Once we got PBTs, it just makes your job along with your field sobriety test. Go ahead and give your field sobriety test, and then usually the last thing we would do is to see, because if you pull the PBT out first, they just go ahead. They don't want to take that. Well, you want to get that reading if you can. And it tells you. Field sobriety tests are not easy. Not as easy as people think. That guy there thought he was no problem. I'll take a field sobriety test. I'm sober.
Yeah.
It's not that easy. Stand on one leg, walk them through your living room there heel to toe and turn around and come back the other way without getting off balance. And that's still going to be easier in your living room, and wife's laughing at you or your wife laughing at her. Wait till you're out there on the side of the road and tractor trailers are passing, wind's blowing, the gravel on the road, traffic's going by, watching you. You're wondering if your neighbors or the people you go to church with, who knows what goes through your mind. But it's got to be I've never been on that side of it. I don't know, but I'm sure it's remedy to false DUI arrest. Here's where we got to.
Okay.
In fact, we'll cover this after you show a couple more videos. We'll finish up with this.
Okay.
And that'll finish this video up as soon as we get done here. But this is going to be remedies to stop false arrest for DUIs. Coming up.
Was ultimately dismissed. The DUI was already done.
That's right.
It was most traumatic experience to not get arrested. I mean, all the man's got is his reputation
Exactly.
and his name. And it's weird. And I didn't appreciate it. Chokes up. It does.
Oh,
It affected them.
wow. It would affect anybody.
The situation.
Look at the reports. All 3 drivers, including Adams, showed multiple signs of impairment. In one case, a driver had a half-empty beer can in the driver's side door, but they were all found to be sober.
Wow.
I'm looking at them and I'm saying, I'm not sure how I fix this. And in
You fire them. Fire some officers. You go ahead. One
Do
more.
another one?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and get them out of the way.
investigation shows it's not just illegal. Police are still favoring realize all over the mid-state. And because of the backlog of the TBI for alcohol and toxicology reports, we found some innocent drivers are waiting 8 months to get results back. And many times, sober drivers are asking for breathalyzers. Listen. But he didn't. You can see in the video, Adams was taken to get a blood draw instead after that.
One more.
That's not cool.
Why not use a breathalyzer each time? At least really get that person had been drinking alcohol.
Exactly.
So many people that we see now, they're under the influence, but it's not necessarily alcohol. And a blood test, which takes longer to get back, is the only way to know for sure. I just put myself in their position, and how would I feel if this happened to me?
Humiliated.
Adams knows how it feels each and every time he drives past where he was arrested. Sometimes I'll refer to it as the scene of the crime, because it was a crime against me. Jeff,
I agree.
Okay. Guys, I'm going to go over this, and then Sheila will show the last couple of videos and on the way out. So stop the competition between officers and departments.
Okay.
No more awards. No more competition. How many did you get? How many they get? Who's going to get the reward or the award this month?
Mm-hmm.
Stop the gifts and awards. Stop the plaques. Stop the trophies. Stop the video cameras. Radar detectors, whatever it is that the department or somebody gives as an award for getting the most DUIs. Stop the recognition whatsoever. You don't even make it public in the department who got DUIs, who hasn't, anything else. You don't have to do that. A good cop who has seen enough DUI accidents and what impaired drivers can do to children and other people will do his job voluntarily. You don't have to give them awards or rewards. That's what they're there for, is to make our highways safe. They have no problem with that.
Exactly.
And that way you don't have somebody out here, if it's borderline or if they're not sure, or if they're, instead of saying, I ain't got a DUI
I
all
haven't
week.
met my quota.
Well, there's no quota, but there's a quota. There's no
Right,
quota
that's what
on
I'm
tickets.
saying,
There's
but-
no quota on DUIs. But work at a police department, not do your job. And doing your job is easy as a police officer to see what you've done, because it consists of paperwork. It consists of tickets. It consists of arrest forms. It consists of court appearances. So you can tell who's working and who's not. You see a man that's never in court, he's not working. You see a man that's
Stays in court.
go to YouTube and watch all the videos. There's plenty of them out there on this. Appears that's going on, and it looks like it's been going on for a while. But thanks for joining us. And Sheila will show these last couple of videos, and then she'll do the closing.
All right, here we go, guys. Here's the next one.
His son is arrested for a crime he did not commit. Tennessee troopers are being sued in
They arrested a Tennessee man for DUI who was sober the entire time. It's the latest development in Jeremy Finley's sobering problem investigations, where he's finding sober Tennesseans arrested for DUI.
Wow.
Anything to drink there?
his mom had no interest.
I'm just saying, you can go
It turns out mother does arrest. Manus was arrested and charged with DUI, but his blood work shows he was completely sober. No alcohol, no drugs. And now he's suing both the state troopers who arrested him, citing unlawful seizure and false arrest. And it's what's once again captured on police body camera before the field sobriety test is even given. It raises more questions about why police are arresting innocent people, charging them with a crime they committed. Pulled over, not for swerving or speeding, but for having too dark of tinted windows in Monroe County in East Tennessee.
Wow.
Before the field sobriety test even begins, Trooper Billy Yates McCoy says he knows a relative of Manus's and has a suspicion about Manus. I got three going out. Yeah. I'm scared that you strike like that. When the last time you smoked marijuana? Not anytime soon. I'm saying probably about 4 years ago. Just got another blood test over right now. According to Manus' lawsuit, he successfully performed each field sobriety test, but still was charged. Am I in custody? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think there's one more.
That it?
Tennessee drivers charged with DUI when they are completely sober.
News
That one?
shows judges dismissed about 12% of DUI cases in Tennessee this year, but new numbers from TBI
12%.
reveal it's a bigger
That's a lot.
problem than you
12
may
out of
think.
100.
We found that it's
Drivers, people who did not drink but were powerful DUIs since 2017.
Wow.
I think there's one more.
$100,000 in January of 2020.
400,000.
Elias was pulled over for suspicion of DUI. Officer William Gates said he could smell an overwhelming odor of alcohol, but Elias blew triple zeros on the breathalyzer. No alcohol in the system. Officer William Gates only doubled down. He then said Elias must be on drugs and insisted giving a blood test. A few months later, the results came back negative. No drugs.
Wow.
All zeros. And alcohol, all zeros. As part of the settlement, the city of Loveland made no admission of wrongdoing.
$400,000.
Law.
All right,
People.
babe. Guys, we hope you enjoyed the video. I don't know if it's interesting to everybody or not. We
Yeah.
thought it was
I thought it was interesting. It's sad that over 600 people have been charged
one. One is too many.
with that, and they're not even drunk or anything else. That's just sad.
The legislators, I don't know what, yeah, it's just not Tennessee.
Right, it's all over.
We've seen some from other states, and one of those is from Georgia, I believe, that's there.
Okay.
But, you know, the legislators, if it's just one test, then Tennessee should change it to like Kentucky, that multiple testing, as many as the officer. That way it, and PBTs should be supplied as issued equipment, mandatory for every unit if you're on DUI patrol especially.
Exactly.
It's just an extra tool that you can use. So these
So-
things don't happen.
Right.
Right.
So
So we were told of comply.
do exactly what they asked, and then you can
You can
handle
handle it
it
a different way. Like,
it correct.
Judge.
Okay. Thanks for
thanks for
watching,
watching,
guys.
guys.
That's my girl.
Thanks.
Thanks. I love you.
I love you, baby.
God bless you all. We couldn't do it without you all.
You
Thanks for continuing to watch. Please like, subscribe, and share. We'll catch you on the next one. God bless. Bye.
Thank you, guys. God bless you.